back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. Right now, very happy to have back on the show Congressman Colin Allred, a Democrat representing Texas' 32nd District. He's a Democratic nominee to defeat Ted Cruz in the U.S. Senate race in less than 40 days. And whatever we can do to help you win, whatever I can do to help the Giants beat the Cowboys, that's what I want to do as a Cowboy fan, as a Giant fan that I am. But I know you're in Texas, so you got to be Cowboys. But
Yeah.
I want to win. Cowboys, I want to lose. I'm kind of a simple guy. How nice to see you again, Congressman.
Yeah, thanks for letting me on, Dean. And listen, I played against the Cowboys when I was in the NFL, so I understand, but I have to tell you, I am rooting for them tonight.
You better be. You're trying to be the senator from Texas. If you said you were going to root for the Giants, I'm like, just stop now. We're going to
Yeah,
bring
just
Ted
stop
Cruz
now. That's
on.
exactly right. Yeah.
So look, what it's kind of remarkable. I remember when Beto ran in 2018, there was excitement about him, but I don't recall him actually leading at any point in that race. This, at least this late in, was a recent poll, Morning Consult, very respected poll, up by one, other ones neck and neck. What is going on the ground? What are you hearing? And what are the
Yeah.
issues people are bringing up that are gravitating people to you to support you against Ted Cruz, the incumbent?
Well, I think we have a great story to tell, about, being raised by a single mom in Dallas and, going to our public schools, being captain of the football team at Baylor and playing in the NFL and then going to law school. That's a story that I think a lot of Texans would like for their kids to be able to play, big time sports and come back and do well. But I've also, been the most bipartisan Texan in Congress, and I think folks have seen that, I can try to bring us together around our shared values. And then, of course, there is the truth that Ted Cruz has put himself in this position because of how extreme he has been, because of his failure to help us solve some of the issues that are facing Texans, because he is singularly responsible for our abortion ban that we have in place here in Texas, because he's gone after critical programs like Medicare and Social Security. And fundamentally, I think that most Texans know that he's really looking out for himself first, and that's a problem. And I think that's why we're going to solve it.
Yeah, I saw a picture I think shared today. You in your Tennessee Titan uniform and Ted Cruz in the airport fleeing to go to Cancun, and they're like, "Who do you want to represent Texas?" And if you had been in a cowboy uniform, it would have been better for that, but bad for me. But what about other issues that are of importance? That reproductive freedom is so important.
Yeah.
Women are literally dying. We learned from
Yes.
ProPublica. In your state, there's been studies showing as the bans have gone on, even earlier, it wasn't a full ban, but the restrictions on reproductive freedom have hurt women's health. What do you hear from women? I mean, is a sense this is not political. This is very personal. This is about their health and their life, staying alive.
That's exactly right. And, this is deeply personal. My wife and I have had two boys in Dallas in the last 5 years, and, the whole process is scary.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know what the doctor's going to say when you go there for your ultrasound or for your, checkup. And all you want to hear is that everything looks good. That's all you
Mm-hmm.
want to hear. But if you do hear, which some Texan is going to hear today, that there's a problem, the next thing you want to hear is, and here's the plan to make sure that you're going to be okay. But instead of hearing that, Texas women and Texas families are hearing there's a problem. There's nothing I can do to help you, because Ted Cruz thinks he knows better. And so you're either going to have to leave your state, which, for some folks can't afford to do that, or suffer some kind of horrific consequence. And in some cases, it's ectopic pregnancies that have been left untreated because the hospitals are afraid to treat them, that then rupture. In other cases, it's like my friend Amanda Zarowski in Austin, who was going through a miscarriage that when she was denied care so long that she may be unable to ever have her own children. In other cases, it's moms with much wanted pregnancies, like Kate Cox, who was already a mother of two and had a much wanted third pregnancy, had to go to the emergency room 4 times. Her doctor said she needed a medically necessary abortion, and her state said, if you do this, we're going to prosecute your doctor and your hospital. And so she had to flee the state. This is not who we are. Texans believe in freedom, and this is not freedom. You're not free if you can't make these fundamental decisions for yourself. And so that's what we have to restore. And you're right, it is a big political issue, but unfortunately, it's an even bigger issue for what it's doing to real people in Texas.
Absolutely. And I'm telling you, Congressman Colin Allred, the Democratic nominee for the U.S. Senate in Texas. I saw some really big news. Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee is going to include Texas now, multi-million-dollar push to help. And obviously, it's because of the campaign you've run and where the polling is. So, how much can this help you?
Well, I think it's exciting news because it's further proof of our momentum and what we've known, but I think that now folks are starting to see, which is that we know that we are going to beat Ted Cruz. And I've always been focused in. I think you know this about me. I stay very focused on my state, on my people, on the folks that I'm going to be hoping to represent. And I recognize that there's national, impact for what's going to happen here in Texas. But we also have a very specific issue in Texas, which is that Ted Cruz is our problem,
Mhm.
and that he hasn't been doing the job for us, that he's not really interested in doing the job for us. And so we'll take, whatever help we can get in terms of doing that. And I hope that folks out there who are listening, go to my website, colinallred.com, and get involved, because not only, of course, can we take out one of the most extreme senators in the country who's been responsible for much of the current situation that we find ourselves in, where our politics has gotten to this incredibly toxic place, but also hopefully, and maybe we can put somebody in who I think can be a part of the solution to bringing us back together.
Yeah, certainly. Ted Cruz, I recall when he first got in the Senate, it was clear the man just wanted to be a celebrity or famous or
That's right.
president, whatever. And his fuel was being divisive. And it
Hmm.
was jarring at the time. Now we're living through Trump and we're sort of used to it, but he was a precursor to Trump. Time in politics, I'm like, I didn't think it was healthy. I said, this is toxic what this guy is doing. And there were even Republicans some Republicans didn't like them now. I don't know if they're still in the party. I always remember Al Franken, who was a Democrat, famously said that he probably likes Ted Cruz the most of any senator, and he hates Ted Cruz. And he goes, that's how he viewed. I always remember that about him. There was another. We recently had the CEO of LULAC on, and we were talking about some people in
Yeah.
their organization having their homes raided
Yeah.
by Ken Paxton. But I saw in polls that there's a huge gap. You're doing really very well with the Latino community. What are the issues that you've been talking to them about, and why is this great gap on your side? Help people coming
Yeah.
out for you.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just say about those raids, as a voting rights lawyer before I came to Congress, I just find this effort to intimidate Texas voters to be deeply un-American, but also hopefully it'll be a signal to every Texan that this is, if they're trying this hard to stop you from voting, then there must be a reason. And that reason is because your vote is so powerful. And we can't let them do that. And so as much as it's, impacts LULAC and those volunteers there in San Antonio, it's trying to send a message to every Texan that voting's not for you, and we're not going to let them do that. But I do think that Latinos are part of this broad, diverse coalition that we're building. But they're our largest group in Texas. They're central to the story of Texas. They're central also to my story, and I think that what they fundamentally believe in Texas is that we believe in opportunity,
Mhm.
and that certainly includes our Latino population. We believe we should have the chance to get ahead, free from discrimination, go to good schools, get into a good job, retire with dignity. And Ted Cruz has spent his career attacking all of those kind of pillars of opportunity, from public education, which he's trying right now in Texas. He's part of this effort for this voucher, kind of scam, to making higher education more expensive and less available, to not investing in these kind of trade schools and other important apprenticeship programs that can help folks get into really good jobs, to constantly demagoguing and using every issue that we have that we do have to solve at our border, but trying to extend that into a fear in other communities, and then to attacking Medicare and Social Security. If you attack all of these fundamental pillars, then you can't expect for folks to vote for you.
It's true, and your state is remarkably diverse. And I'm my dad said I'm of Arab heritage, and I'm Muslim, and I've been to Texas many times for events with the Muslim community, and you've always been posting about Happy Eid for Eid Mubarak for people and embracing of my community. It's important because that's what America looks like. It's the beauty. I live in New York. I take one subway. We're all different people together in one
That's right.
subway. We're all in
That's
this
right.
together. The divisiveness. I mean, and I don't know where Ted Cruz comes down on this, but Donald Trump's demonization of black immigrants who are here legally, and JD
Mhm.
Vance has been alarming and dangerous. And I'm hoping that gets rejected by Texas voters, the entire MAGA agenda, which Ted Cruz is one of the leaders of the MAGA agenda.
Yeah, that's right. And it is dangerous, and we've seen this. As you're talking about earlier with the divisiveness. We didn't end up here on our own. It took leaders who pitted us against each other, who took the seams in our society and tried to pull them further apart, and who have told people that the problems in your life are somebody who lives down the street, or somebody who looks different from you, or sounds different from you, or prays different from you.
Mhm.
And that has led us to this situation. But I still believe, and I know that in Texas, we're a fundamentally decent people. As you said, it's an incredibly diverse state.
Right.
I think it's not only bad in terms of, bad policy and horrific leadership. I think it's also bad politics to do this. There are so many first generation Americans in Texas now, folks who have come here to make their home, who are citizens who'll be voting in this election, who are contributing to our economies, whether they're South Asian, East Asian, and from the Middle East. Our backgrounds are so varied, and Texas contains multitudes, and so that's who we are. And we need to have a leader who embraces that diversity, who sees it as part of this beautiful tapestry of our state, not one who then tries to pick parts of our communities and set them against each other.
I agree. Well, Congressman, it's 6 weeks to election day. Anything we can do to help, you're welcome to come on every week for 10 minutes if you want. I'm not even kidding. Every other week, whatever you want. We want to help you win. We got to defeat Ted Cruz. It would be great to have like someone like you as a senator there instead of Ted Cruz to bring people together. So great chatting with you. And I wish you the best over the next few weeks. And hopefully we can get you back on before this is over. The election's over.
Absolutely, Dean. Thank you. And thank y'all. Let's go win.
That's exactly. Take